Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about props and stimuli, and the first thing we want to cover is YouTube. Now, most settings that we go into will have a computer and a whiteboard. Now, YouTube is the most marvellous resource, not only because you can look up music from around the world, all different types of music from around the world, and people playing different instruments and singing in different languages, but also because we can use things as stimuli, such as in one session I used a video, and it's a personal view of somebody on a roller coaster, and we had a variety of instruments, different percussion instruments for the children to play while they were viewing and being on this roller coaster to give that added excitement, and it was fantastic. It works really, really well. There are also lots of other things, like there are calming sounds such as waterfalls or stormy seas, which can provide background for soundscapes and different atmospheres.
Some of my young people used a film of volcano. They're very into volcanoes, and built a composition around this film of a volcano. I've also used YouTube to show a small cartoon and turn the sound off, and the young people have created their own soundtrack to it. So having that vast resource there, the young people will have lots of things that they want to show you and lots of interest, and it's a great resource to be using. But we also take in different props, don't we? And they're not expensive things, but they're things that can really help to stimulate imagination. So I can see you've got one there.
I'm going to show you a couple of things here. If we were doing something to do with the sea or water, then maybe. Oh, got this lovely blue material, which when we wave around can be the ocean. Okay, and then to go with that, we've got one of these, which is an ocean drum. You can see it's got hundreds of ball bearings inside, and when we swirl it around, a lovely sound of the ocean. We've used this with up to 4 people sitting round it as a team game to try and play it together. Oh, it's getting a bit rough. Get rid of that now.
So a musician I worked with a while ago said, if you've only got a limited budget, it's really good to buy some special things that young people might not encounter in other places. So if you've got your basic school percussion, or you've got a basic percussion kit, and remember, you can make things like shakers, you can make some handmade drums. It's really good to invest in some other special instruments. This is one of my favourites. And it's one of the kids' favourites too. They're either called wah-wah tubes or vibratones, and I think they're a wonderful base for doing either deep ocean pieces or space pieces. The young people will provide the ideas. Once they've heard a sound and once they've tried to make the sound, then you can start exploring that. Another thing that I invested in, which is just such a great stimulus and also very sensory and a great way of us learning about sound decay and different lengths of sound, is this beautiful gong, which young people just love playing, and they learn about muting and about duration of sound, and we can experiment with lots of different instruments we've got to see if sounds are long, to see if sounds are short. So the instruments that we've got, the young people will be absolutely excited, but they're also always really respectful when they're using the equipment. It's very exciting for young people to be using it. So if you've got a special instrument, do share it round so everybody gets to have a turn, because I think that's a really important thing for young people to actually be able to play it. And you can share instruments around while you're using other classroom percussion, while you're using body percussion. I also tend to use a lot of different puppets. This is one of my favourites because it's very good at listening. But I find a lot of the young people that I work with, maybe they haven't got so many toys, or maybe they just really like to have something they can show some affection to. And if a young person isn't joining in, they might want to sit with the rabbit and just listen, and it helps them to feel connected to what's happening in the rest of the session. So I think there are probably lots of different things. I tend to use the things that I really connect to. So I think if you're enthusiastic about using the prop or sensory items that you've got, then the young people will connect to that. So I think rather than collecting lots of things, have a think about what you're really enthusiastic about. So as well as having that quality music education, we're widening it out and it's becoming a whole creative sensory experience. So I think that's really important for a lot of young people to feel really included.
Yes.